Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the notes. Number 8 is asking us to graph the solution to number 7 on a number line. And the biggest thing that you need to remember from 8th grade is the difference between an open circle or a solid circle. So an open circle, we use that to signify either less than or greater than. So the number that the open circle is on is not included. So either a less than or greater than. The other option is a solid circle or a closed-in circle. And what that means when you put in a closed-in circle is that the answer, that number, is included in the answer. So it's either going to be a less than or equal to answer or a greater than or equal to answer. So I'm going to go ahead and pause my video real quick and draw my number line and choose which circle I'm going to put on it and graph it. So I want you to go ahead and pause it as well, draw your number line and graph it, and then check back and get your answer. Okay, so I chose an open circle because number 7 is just using the greater than sign, and then I just shaded greater than 2. A good suggestion or hint for you to figure out which way to shade is to think about the inequality as an arrow. So if I draw a little line there on my less than inequality, it gives me an arrow saying to shade heading left. Or if I draw a line in my greater than inequality, it gives me an arrow pointing to shade to the right. So that's just a little hint that might help you. Okay, on number 9 and number 10, we're writing the sentence that's given to us in words. We're turning it into an inequality, and then we're trying to solve it. So go ahead and I want you to try first on your own to get it written into words and to solve it, and then I want you to check back on the video for the explanation. Okay, so on this one, I went ahead and just made some notations. I boxed in the inequality, which is less than or equal to, and wrote that symbol above it. I wrote the 6 above the 6. I circled the sum because sum means plus, and then I drew an arrow to the two things that wanted me to add together. And then the only other thing I had to do was to give a variable for the number. So I just used the variable n to represent the number. Then the last thing is that it gave me my answer was -9 is less than or equal to n. But the standard is that we write our variable first. So I had to rotate the entire answer. So when I rotated it, I looked and noticed that my n, the inequality was opening up towards my n. So when I rotated it, I made sure the inequality continued to open up towards my n. Okay, so now on number 10, you're just dealing with difference instead of sum. So go ahead and pause it, see if you can do it, and then check back for the answer. Okay, before we move on, right above the kid on the bicycle down the bottom of the page, write the word carrot. And then looking at this solution, the only thing that was tricky is they gave me the number 7 is greater than d, and I had to rotate my entire equation around, paying very careful attention that my inequality sign continued to be smallest towards the d. Okay, so looking at the application, we're going to be now applying our skills of writing inequalities from sentences into a problem and solving it. So go ahead and pause it for part A and see if you can get the answer for part A. Then you're going to check back before moving on to part B. Let's make sure we're on the same page on part A. Okay, the big thing to notice on part A is I wrote my inequality, wrote it there in blue, representing my distance or my number of miles. Then I used the no faster than, so the less than or equal to sign, and then 17.6 miles per hour, so 17.6 h. So I wrote my equation with my variables, and then I plugged in what they gave me. You bike for 2 hours. So instead of h, I'm substituting in my 2, And I solved, and my distance has to be less than or equal to 35.2 miles. Now, on part B, this time they're giving me the distance and wanting to know if my hours, my h, is going to be less than the 6.5 given. So we're going to check to see if our h is going to be less than the 6.5 hours. So go ahead and give it a shot, plug in your values, and decide if it's true or not. Notice on this one, I did go ahead and set it up as an equation with an equal sign because I know that I'm biking at that pace for 112 miles. And when I divide it out, I get 6.4 hours, which is indeed less than the 6.5.